Imagine living in a world where questioning everything was considered dangerous, where challenging the status quo could cost you your life. This was the world of Socrates, a man who chose truth over comfort, wisdom over popularity, and died for his beliefs. Yet, over 2,000 years later, his ideas continue to shape how we think, learn, and live. Socrates never wrote a single book. He never built an empire. He never accumulated wealth or power. Instead, he walked the streets of ancient Athens, barefoot and simply dressed, engaging anyone who would listen in profound conversations about life, virtue, and the human condition. His method of teaching through questions rather than answers revolutionized philosophy and education forever. But why does Socrates matter today? In our age of information overload, social media echo chambers, and constant distractions, the wisdom of this ancient philosopher offers something desperately needed: a framework for thinking clearly, living authentically, and finding genuine success. Not the success measured by followers, possessions, or status, but the kind of success that brings lasting fulfillment, peace of mind, and a life well lived. Today, we're going on a deep dive into the mind of Socrates. We'll explore his revolutionary philosophies, understand what they mean for modern life, and most importantly, discover how you can apply his ancient wisdom to transform your life right now. By the end of this video, you'll have practical tools to think more clearly, live more intentionally, and pursue what truly matters. So let's step into the world of ancient Athens and meet the man who changed philosophy forever. The Socratic method, the foundation of critical thinking. The first and perhaps most influential of Socrates' contributions is what we now call the Socratic method. This is a form of cooperative dialogue where questions are asked not to humiliate or defeat an opponent, but to stimulate critical thinking and illuminate ideas. Here's how it works. Instead of telling someone they're wrong or lecturing them on what's right, you ask probing questions that help them examine their own beliefs. Through this process, contradictions and weaknesses in thinking naturally emerge, leading to deeper understanding. In modern society, we're drowning in opinions, but starving for wisdom. We're quick to defend our positions, but slow to examine them. The Socratic method offers an antidote. It teaches us to pause, question our assumptions, and think more deeply before forming conclusions. How to apply this in your life? Step 1. The next time you have a strong opinion about something, pause and ask yourself, why do I believe this? What evidence supports it? What would someone who disagrees say? Don't just defend your position, actually examine it. Step 2. In conversations, especially disagreements, replace statements with questions. Instead of saying, "You're wrong about that," try asking, "What makes you think that? Can you help me understand your reasoning?" You'll be amazed how this transforms dialogue. Step 3. Keep a journal where you question one belief you hold each week. Write down the belief, then interrogate it with questions. You don't have to abandon beliefs that survive scrutiny, but you'll hold them with greater confidence and nuance. This practice develops intellectual humility, sharper reasoning, and the ability to change your mind when presented with better evidence. These are superpowers in a world where most people cling rigidly to their first impressions. The unexamined life. Perhaps Socrates' most famous principle comes from his trial. He declared, "The unexamined life is not worth living." This wasn't pessimism. It was a call to consciousness, to awareness, to intentional living. What does it mean to examine your life? It means regularly stepping back from the automatic routines, habits, and patterns that fill your days and asking profound questions. Am I living according to my values? Are my daily actions aligned with my long-term goals? Am I pursuing what I truly want, or what others expect of me? Am I growing as a person, or just getting older? In modern society, we're masters of distraction. We can fill every moment with entertainment, social media, news, and busyness, never pausing to reflect on whether we're actually living well. We measure success by external markers, income, titles, possessions, likes, without asking whether these things genuinely make us happy or fulfilled. Socrates challenges us to reject this autopilot existence. He argues that a life spent accumulating things, chasing pleasures, or pursuing status without deeper reflection is a wasted life, regardless of how successful it appears to others. How to apply this in your life? Step 1. Schedule regular reflection time. This could be weekly, monthly, or quarterly. Use this time to honestly assess your life. Are you happy? Are you growing? Are you living according to your values? Step 2. Identify the gap between who you are and who you want to be. Write down your ideal self, the person you'd be proud to become. Now write down where you currently fall short. This gap is where your work lies. Step 3. Make small, consistent adjustments. Self-examination without action is just daydreaming. Choose one area where you're not living authentically and commit to changing it. Step 4. Question your goals. We often pursue goals we never consciously chose, goals inherited from parents, society, or peer pressure. Ask yourself, if I achieve this goal, will I actually be happier? Is this truly my goal or someone else's? This examination process leads to what Socrates valued most, an authentic life, where your actions reflect your genuine values and beliefs, not the expectations imposed by others. Virtue is knowledge. One of Socrates' most controversial and misunderstood ideas is that virtue is knowledge. What he meant is that people don't do wrong intentionally. They do wrong because they lack understanding. No one, Socrates believed, would knowingly harm themselves or act against their own best interest. At first, this seems absurd. We see people making terrible choices all the time, seemingly on purpose. But Socrates' point is subtler. People who lie, cheat, or harm others believe, in that moment, that these actions will benefit them. They lack the wisdom to see how these actions ultimately harm themselves by corrupting their character, destroying relationships, or creating long-term consequences. In modern terms, think about someone who sacrifices their health for career success, working 16-hour days, neglecting exercise and sleep. They think they're winning by climbing the corporate ladder. But Socrates would say they lack the knowledge that health is more valuable than status. They don't see they're trading something priceless for something ultimately hollow. This philosophy is radically optimistic. It suggests that if we truly understood what was good for us, what would lead to genuine happiness and fulfillment, we would naturally choose it. The problem isn't willpower, it's wisdom. How to apply this in your life? Step 1. When you make a choice you later regret, don't just beat yourself up. Examine what you misunderstood in that moment. What false belief led you astray? Did you overvalue short-term pleasure? Underestimate long-term consequences? Step 2. Study wisdom intentionally. Read philosophy, psychology, and biographies of people you admire. The goal is to internalize deep truths about human nature, happiness, and success so that wise choices become natural. Step 3. Before major decisions, pause and write down what you believe about the situation. What assumptions are you making? What do you think will happen? What might you be missing? This brings unconscious beliefs into consciousness, where they can be examined. Step 4. Surround yourself with wise people. Socrates believed we learn virtue through dialogue with those further along the path. Find mentors, join communities, and engage with people who embody the wisdom you seek. By developing true knowledge about what leads to human flourishing, you'll find yourself naturally making better choices. Virtue becomes not a burden of self-discipline, but the natural expression of wisdom. Pause for reflection. Now, before we continue, I want to ask you something important. Think about your own life for a moment. When was the last time you truly examined your beliefs, your habits, your goals? How many of your daily actions are conscious choices versus automatic routines? And here's the bigger question. What would change in your life if you applied Socratic principles? If you questioned your assumptions, examined your life regularly, and pursued genuine wisdom over superficial success? These aren't rhetorical questions. I genuinely want you to think about them. In fact, pause the video right now if you need to. Reflection is more valuable than just consuming content. And if you're finding value in this deep dive into Socratic wisdom, if these ideas are challenging you to think differently, I'd really appreciate it if you'd like this video and subscribe to the channel. Here's why I ask. The algorithm shows this content to more people when you engage with it. And honestly, in a world filled with shallow entertainment and clickbait, content that encourages deep thinking and self-examination needs all the help it can get. By liking and subscribing, you're not just supporting this channel. You're voting for a different kind of content. Content that respects your intelligence, challenges you to grow, and provides tools for genuine life improvement. Plus, you'll be notified when we release more videos exploring timeless wisdom for modern life. Okay, let's continue with more of Socrates' revolutionary ideas. Know thyself. Inscribed on the temple of Apollo at Delphi was the command, know thyself. Socrates adopted this as a central principle of his philosophy. But what does it really mean to know yourself? It means understanding your strengths and limitations. It means recognizing your biases, your emotional triggers, and your patterns of thinking. It means knowing what truly matters to you, not what you think should matter, or what others say should matter. Most people, Socrates observed, spend their lives looking outward, comparing themselves to others, chasing external validation, performing for an audience. Very few turn their attention inward to understand who they actually are beneath the mask they wear. In modern society, this problem has intensified. Social media encourages us to curate perfect versions of ourselves. Career pressures push us to mold ourselves to market demands. We learn to be what others want rather than discovering who we are. But you can't live authentically if you don't know your authentic self. You can't make good decisions without understanding your values. You can't find fulfillment pursuing goals that don't align with your true nature. How to apply this in your life? Step 1. Take personality assessments seriously. Tools like the Big Five, Myers-Briggs, or Enneagram aren't perfect, but they provide frameworks for self-understanding. More importantly, they prompt reflection about your patterns. Step 2. Notice your emotional reactions. When you feel strong emotions, anger, fear, joy, shame, ask why. What button got pressed? What does this reveal about your values or insecurities? Step 3. Identify your core values. Write down the 5 things that matter most to you in life. Not what should matter, but what actually does. Then, examine whether your daily life reflects these values. Step 4. Seek honest feedback. Ask people who know you well to describe your strengths and blind spots. This is uncomfortable, but invaluable. We all have blind spots, things about ourselves that everyone else sees, but we don't. Step 5. Try new things. You can't know yourself fully without testing yourself in different contexts. Take on challenges that push you outside your comfort zone and observe how you respond. Self-knowledge is the foundation of wisdom. You can't improve what you don't acknowledge. You can't change what you don't understand. By knowing yourself deeply, you gain the ability to consciously shape yourself rather than being shaped by unconscious patterns and external pressures. Socrates' most powerful quotes explained. Let's now examine some of Socrates' most famous quotes and understand their practical meaning for modern life. I know that I know nothing. This is Socratic wisdom in its purest form. He's not claiming literal ignorance. He's recognizing the vastness of what he doesn't know compared to what he does. This intellectual humility made him wiser than people who thought they knew everything. Modern application. The confident person on social media arguing passionately about complex topics they've barely studied. They lack Socratic wisdom. The person who says, I don't know enough about that to have a strong opinion, demonstrates it. Intellectual humility opens you to learning. Arrogance closes the door. The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. This extends the previous idea. Real wisdom begins when you acknowledge the limits of your knowledge. This doesn't mean you can't have expertise or opinions. It means holding them with appropriate uncertainty and remaining open to new evidence. Modern application. Before sharing that hot take online, ask yourself, How certain am I about this? What might I be missing? What would change my mind? This transforms you from a knee-jerk reactor into a thoughtful thinker. To find yourself, think for yourself. In Socrates' time, people relied on tradition, authority, and popular opinion to determine truth. Socrates challenged people to question everything and reach their own conclusions through reason. Modern application. You're surrounded by influencers, experts, and authorities telling you how to live, what to buy, what to believe. Socrates says, think for yourself. Examine their claims. Test their advice against your experience. You're the ultimate authority on your own life. He who is not contented with what he has would not be contented with what he would like to have. This addresses the hedonic treadmill, the tendency to always want more, to believe happiness lies just beyond the next achievement or possession. Socrates recognized that discontentment is a mindset, not a circumstance. Modern application. If you can't be happy with what you have now, getting more won't fix it. Practice gratitude for what is before pursuing what's next. This doesn't mean lack of ambition. It means finding contentment in the journey, not just the destination. Wonder is the beginning of wisdom. Children are naturally philosophical. They ask, why? Constantly. We train this out of them, teaching them to accept what they're told. Socrates maintained childlike wonder, constantly questioning and marveling at existence. Modern application. Reclaim your sense of wonder. When you encounter something you don't understand, get curious rather than frustrated. When you see something familiar, try to see it with fresh eyes. Wonder keeps you learning, growing, and engaged with life. By all means, marry. If you get a good wife, you'll become happy. If you get a bad one, you'll become a philosopher. This shows Socrates' famous wit, but there's wisdom here too. Difficulty drives growth. Challenges force us to think deeply about life. Modern application. Don't fear difficulties or setbacks. They're opportunities for philosophical growth. The easy path might be comfortable, but the difficult path makes you wiser. Education is the kindling of a flame, not the filling of a vessel. Socrates saw education not as memorizing facts, but as awakening the mind's ability to think, question, and discover truth independently. Modern application. True learning isn't about accumulating credentials or memorizing information. It's about developing your capacity to think critically, learn continuously, and adapt to new situations. Ask yourself, is my learning kindling my flame of curiosity, or just filling my head with facts I'll forget? The secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. Rather than dwelling on bad habits or past mistakes, Socrates advocated putting energy into creating new patterns and better ways of being. Modern application. Stop fighting your procrastination and start building a system that makes productivity natural. Stop battling your bad diet and start building habits around healthy eating. Focus forward, not backward. The virtuous life. Socrates' roadmap to excellence. For Socrates, the ultimate goal of philosophy wasn't abstract theorizing. It was living well, achieving eudaimonia, often translated as happiness or flourishing, but better understood as living excellently according to virtue. He identified several key virtues essential to human flourishing: wisdom, the ability to discern truth, make sound judgments, and understand what truly matters. This comes through constant examination and questioning. Courage, not just physical bravery, but moral courage to stand by your principles, speak truth, and act rightly, even when it's difficult or unpopular. Temperance, self-control, and moderation in all things. Not denying pleasure, but not being enslaved to it either. Maintaining balance. Justice, giving each person their due, acting fairly, and maintaining right relationships with others and society. For Socrates, these virtues weren't burdens to bear or rules to follow. They were expressions of a well-ordered soul, a person whose reason governs their desires, whose actions align with their values, who lives with integrity. The Socratic roadmap to a better life. Step 1. Commit to examination. Make self-examination a daily practice. Spend 10 to 15 minutes each day reflecting on your actions, thoughts, and choices. Ask, did I live according to my values today? Where did I fall short? What can I learn? Step 2. Practice intellectual humility. Regularly say, I don't know. Admit mistakes quickly. Change your mind when presented with better evidence. This frees you from the exhausting work of defending positions you're not certain about. Step 3. Question everything. Don't accept beliefs just because they're popular, traditional, or comfortable. Ask why. Seek evidence. Test ideas against reality. Become comfortable with uncertainty while working toward greater understanding. Step 4. Pursue wisdom over success. Make learning and growth your primary goals. When choosing between options, ask, which choice will make me wiser? Not just, which will make me richer or more successful. Wisdom compounds. External success is fleeting. Step 5. Cultivate virtue. Identify one virtue you want to develop. Maybe it's courage, patience, honesty, or discipline. Each day, look for small opportunities to practice that virtue. Virtue is built through repeated action, not wishful thinking. Step 6. Engage in meaningful dialogue. Seek out conversations that challenge your thinking. Surround yourself with people who ask good questions, not just people who agree with you. Socrates believed truth emerges through dialogue. Step 7. Live authentically. Align your life with your examined values. Stop performing for others. Stop pursuing goals that don't genuinely matter to you. This might mean disappointing some people, but it's the only path to genuine fulfillment. Step 8. Accept mortality. Socrates faced death calmly because he'd lived according to his principles. Remembering that life is finite helps you focus on what truly matters. Ask regularly, if I died today, would I be satisfied with how I lived? Final wisdom, living the Socratic life. So what does a modern Socratic life look like practically? It's the life of someone who questions rather than assumes, who examines rather than merely experiences, who seeks wisdom over comfort and authenticity over approval. It's someone who can change their mind without feeling threatened, who can say, I don't know, without embarrassment, who can stand alone for principles when necessary. It's someone whose success is measured not by external metrics, but by internal growth. Someone who's becoming wiser, more virtuous, more fully themselves with each passing year. The beautiful thing about Socratic philosophy is its accessibility. You don't need money, credentials, or special circumstances to practice it. You need only the willingness to examine your life, question your beliefs, and commit to growth. Start today, right now. Ask yourself one Socratic question. Am I living the life I truly want, or the life I think I should want? Sit with that question. Examine it honestly. Let it guide your next choices. Remember, Socrates died for his philosophy, but he also lived for it. Every conversation, every question, every act of courage was an expression of his commitment to truth and virtue. His death wasn't tragic. It was the culmination of a life lived with complete integrity. You have that same choice, to live examined or unexamined, to pursue wisdom or distraction, to be authentically yourself or a copy of what others expect. Conclusion, Socratic wisdom for your journey. As we close, let's remember the essential wisdom of Socrates, his quotes to carry with you. The unexamined life is not worth living. Know thyself. I know that I know nothing. To find yourself, think for yourself. Wonder is the beginning of wisdom. Education is the kindling of a flame, not the filling of a vessel. The secret of change is to focus all of your energy, not on fighting the old, but on building the new. His core virtues, wisdom through constant questioning, courage to stand by principles, temperance in all desires, justice in all relationships. His method, question everything, assume nothing, seek truth through dialogue and examination. His promise, that a life devoted to wisdom, virtue, and self-knowledge leads to genuine human flourishing. a success that circumstances cannot diminish and death cannot destroy. Socrates reminds us that we're all capable of philosophy, of wisdom, of living examined lives. The question isn't whether you have time for this work. The question is whether you can afford not to do it. So go forward from this video differently than you came to it. Examine your life. Question your assumptions. Seek wisdom. Live authentically. Become the person you're capable of being. Thank you for watching and learning about Socrates. His wisdom has survived millennia because it touches something eternal in the human experience. May it serve you as well as it has served countless others on the path to wisdom and the examined life.